Look, I realize this is not going to be a popular opinion, but I think it needs to be said. Is it just me, or is anybody else sick and tired of hearing of all these videos where people complain about corporate America and corporate life and their corporate job? Like, okay, on one hand, I understand if you're not happy at work, at your corporate job, you don't believe in the mission of the company you work for, the product is not interesting, the role is not interesting, you've got a toxic manager, your whole leadership team at your company is toxic and sucks. Those are all good reasons to like switch roles, switch companies, make a change in your life, right? But like the incessant whining and complaining about how working at a company, is just the absolute worst. Like, I'm sorry, but I know it's popular, but like for all these people out there complaining, have you ever worked, in a coal mine? Have you ever worked, you know, 12-hour shifts in a meat packing plant? Have you ever laid railroad tracks, for hundreds of miles, like 12 to 14 hours a day? Like the amount of complaining about corporate jobs, like I understand if you don't like your specific job, it doesn't resonate with you well, or, you need to move companies or do something, or even if you want to quit and do your own business and be an entrepreneur, like fine, like do that, right? Working at a company is not for everybody, but this constant tone of like it's the absolute worst, like how did we come to this point as a society, like how could it ever be any worse than this? Like how about like getting black lung working in a coal mine for 40 years, how about working like in any other job? There's so many other jobs that it's not even funny how difficult they are and how physically destructive they are for your body and how boring they are and how, repetitive they are. Like, boohoo, you work in an office where you probably have like free coffee and free drinks, and it's air conditioned in the summer and it's heated in the winter, and your manager is probably trying to have team activities, and you have team lunches and team dinners, and you go bowling once every 2 months with your team to build camaraderie. There's no real physical endurance type of stuff that's like draining you. Like take it with a grain of salt, back up a little bit. On the grand scheme of life, in the grand scheme of jobs, in the grand scheme of difficult, in the grand scheme of like how jobs have been for the past 50,000 years up until 100 years ago, it's pretty damn good right now, right? So if you need to move companies, whatever, move, but it's not that bad.